When I tell y'all, I don't think I can be any more impressed with this story and the characters in it. I truly don't. And to be perfectly honest, they are working over there on Kill All Immortals. Kill All Immortals is literally a top tier story right now. So, welcome back to the doctor's office. I am Dr. K.R.A. Knight, here to give you proper diagnosis and prognosis and everything comics and comic book characters. And we are on the next issue for Kill All Immortals. And I am just so proud of these characters. The character development over these several comics is absolutely just chef's kiss. So, as we know, in the last issue, Frey had to kill her man. Good. Because he wasn't shit, girl. He was using her to get a story on her family, something that her father was trying to tell her and that she didn't want to believe. And she didn't want to believe it coming from her father. She wanted to see it for herself. She saw it for herself. And she shot that man in the head and left his body out there. She does hide his body somewhere, so she ain't crazy. But she comes back and, they're welcoming her back. And he's like, all is forgiven. I told you so, basically. She's like, we've always been just this group of unchecked power because of Idun. And Idun is the tree. And she's like, that it's got to stop. So she resorts to cutting Idun down. And he's just like, no, what is wrong with you? And of course, he sends his sons to fight her. And I don't think at this point that they realize that she can still stand toe-to-toe with them. It does not matter, because she's been standing toe-to-toe with them, like, one-on-one for these issues. But now that they're kind of jumping her, but they were jumping her before that, she's still standing toe-to-toe with y'all. She's not giving a damn. Like, once she puts her mind to this, like, y'all are not stopping her. So Leaf is the last one to leap at her, and Thor catches him midair and it's just like, stop. And he's like, we're supposed to be doing this for the family. And he looks at her, he's like, this is my family. And she's not fucking wrong. So, of course, as the fight continues, it is Frey and Thor versus Stein and Leaf. And Leaf gets knocked away by Thor very easily, I might add. Like, Thor is incredibly strong. And Stein is standing in between the two of them, swords drawn. And he's just like, damn it. Oh, why? Why are you so right? Like, why are you doing that? So, of course, their father, Eric, is like, Leaf, kill them all. And he's like, why does it always fall to me? And so he's, fighting all three of his siblings. And Frey asks a very important question. How much are you going to sacrifice? Like, how long and, like, how much are you going to do to protect his kingdom? How far are you going to take it? And Eric is like, as far as it takes. And Leaf is like, actually, I'm going to answer for myself. And he's like, we've obeyed you and done what you asked for a millennium, without question, minus Frey. And I'm tired of doing all of this like killing and just being this brute. And he's like, being able to live and then die really just sounds exhilarating. And to stay dead. Being able to be a normal fucking person sounds amazing. So Eric ain't having it. He's like, oh no, absolutely not. And so of course he's like, I'll fight all of y'all. I'll take all of y'all on. And now we have seen Eric in a little bit of action, but not a lot. He usually just sends his sons, and his sons does what he says. Now he's doing the action for himself. When I tell you he is whooping the ass, it's like, what was the point of y'all? Like, the stabbing, the cutting, and like when he gets up to one, they try to gang up on him, but he's able to turn the tables. When he gets a hold of Frey, they're able to get him up off of her. And finally, when they like start working together, they're able to hold him down. And she of course looks to her brothers for the approval, and they're like, go ahead and do it. And she cuts the tree down. And he's of course telling them that they don't know what they're doing. This is going to be a really big mistake. And after they cut the tree down, they're like, did it work? And he's like, kill me and find out. And they're like, we're not gonna kill you, Dad, be serious, but we want to live our lives, point blank. And so he's, of course, as they're leaving together, as siblings should. He's like, you don't know what's out there. You don't know what you've done. Da, 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 da. And so, meanwhile, over in Hong Kong, China, Genghis Khan, who is alive, is in the middle of a conversation and dinner. And he stops listening and is like, do you hear that? Do you feel that? And he goes over to his tree and senses that something is amiss, and he's then like, it's time for war. Now, usually I'm like, parents keep things from their kids all the time, like, so this wouldn't really be any different. But the thing is that you have kept them under you for all of this time and talked about your abilities and y'all's immortality and how you guys are essentially gods, blah, 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 without giving them any details. And it's falling to these groups of people who have been strong throughout history, taking like conquerors throughout history. Genghis Khan, come on. Conquerors throughout history with the power of immortality, and you have kept that from them for whatever reason. And it's so odd because you're like, you don't know what's out there. Of course they don't. And they don't know what's out there because you haven't told them. So why would you not tell them that, but expect them to continuously blindly follow you, especially Freya, who questions everything that you do anyway? Like, it's such an odd thing to do, because you would think that you would at least tell Leaf. Leaf was literally like your right hand, period. Like, after you finally fucking go and can't be revived anymore, he would be the one after you. So it's like, you would think that you would at least tell him. You haven't told him or any of them. And so you're just expecting them to keep that up, and they're just like, no. And no matter how much they've fought it all these years and all through these books, they've always known deep down that their sister was correct. But they spent so much time listening to you and being afraid of you that they just kind of passed her by and just let everything slide. And of course they allowed her to live her life. You allowed her to live her life because she's not like you guys. But she's not like you guys for a reason. So she's always had these feelings deep down about you guys and how you go out into the world and all of the domination that you've done, and like how you've asserted yourself throughout history. And she's never liked one bit of it. So that time that she got to have to herself, she got to, have a good time. But then of course somebody decided that they were going to wiggle their way into her life to try to expose you guys, instead of you just telling her what it was all about. You let her find out on her own in the worst possible way, and now you're paying for it. So excellent storytelling. The brothers and sisters, the siblings coming together is absolutely my favorite thing about this, because she's been individually talking to them and they've been individually listening to her. But when it came down to it, it was just like, are you with me or not? Are we siblings or no? You know what I'm saying? So I loved that. The character development was just absolutely fabulous. It was very, very well written. Again, the artwork is absolutely flawless. I love the violence, the blood. Dark Horse Comics is really, really good. So if you haven't read anything from Dark Horse, do read this, because it is honestly so very good, and it's such a fun read. And like, now that we're getting more people introduced and this war is coming, and they don't have their immortality anymore, now they have to fight super hard to make sure that they protect each other. And I feel like at the end of this, they're gonna die, and it's just like keeping you on edge. That's how you write. Amazing. So that is it for this episode. If you haven't gotten the book, please get the book. If you have not listened to the podcast, please do. The episodes on the podcast are so much fun, and I will be bringing you guys even more. And I will see you guys at your next checkup.